All right, here we go with the nice gardeny pictures. I have them selected. File, open in Camera Raw. Okay, these actually look pretty beautiful and they don't need very many adjustments, but I will just do my thing. Let's see here. Sometimes, by the way, if you have a few pictures that have the same exposure, like for instance this one and that one and this one, all very similar exposure. This one is a little bit brighter. I can select two things at once and do the same adjustments to both of them. So it's a huge time saver if you have a couple pictures that are very similar in tone. And that's what I will often do if I'm editing pictures in that are taken in one ballroom or something. So we're gonna start picking up exposure a little bit. I stop when I look at the whitest whites, and when they seem like they've reached their limit, that's where I stop. So exposure first, generally. I will pick up my shadows because I always do that. And look what that does for texture in flowers. I'm going to take down my blacks a little bit for some contrast. Temperature, it's actually kind of beautiful how it is. But let me just see if there's anything that I like better. And this is where Flavia can definitely say what her taste is. I generally like my images to be neutral or cool. Some people like warm though. I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe this is where. Okay, I'm looking at highlights here in the little bird. Just make sure that we don't lose. No, they were fine where they were. I'm gonna leave it there. The one thing that I do often do, and this is a taste preference thing, and I might be unique in this, but like I said before, I'm kind of anti-green. And sometimes I feel like too much green is a little bit overwhelming. So in like all my pictures, I take down green. Obviously if I did that, that would look gross. But I go down a little bit. So I like that. Let's do an anti-vignette because that brightens up our image. And then I might stop there. Every once in a while I do some more saturation, but if Flavia likes her pictures a little bit more showing off the color, then we can do those types of things. But my default is usually just to do the natural, very natural look. And I like that. Let's look at the other picture. Okay, look at it. We did a lot of the same adjustments. I'm going to maybe make this a little bit more saturation, just because of this particular image. And I'm also going to make it a little bit brighter. I'm also going to straighten this a little bit. With my crop tool. Just a little bit. So I don't know, I like these two. I'm going to flag these as done. I'm going to flag them as yellow because I'm going to pull them into Photoshop to do a couple other little things like some sharpening. There's a little trick here. It's kind of more advanced, but if you like exactly what you did over here, you can make your own little preset or action to apply to, say, this picture. Let's try that. I'm going to go over here to this little hamburger symbol. And I'm going to say Save Settings. And this is just going to save everything that I adjusted, all of the things I just did. I'm going to save. And I'm going to name it Flavia's Garden. Okay, save. Okay. Now, when I come up here, I'm just going to go back to my normal window. When I come up here, I can go into this panel, which are all my presets. Look at all these times that I've saved things. Oh, look, I have a bunch of things that are already named Flavia from other shoots. Look at that. Anyway, Flavia's garden. You see it right here? That's what we just saved. And look at that! It's perfect. Almost perfect. Maybe take down the highlights a little bit. Maybe the shadow a little differently. I'm going to maybe make it more contrast. Let's warm this baby up a little bit. I don't know. I think it's beautiful. We're going to remove this car. I will show you how to do that next. I'm going to flag it yellow. Everything I make yellow, I bring into Photoshop. You can do your own little system. This. Hey, baby.
Why are you talking to yourself?
I'm not talking to myself. I am making a little tutorial video. So I just adjusted the exposure down. Let's see what I do when I go to Flavia's garden here. Oh, no, not good. Cancel. If I cancel, it's not going to work. Let's go to just default settings. See, sometimes you can't just do that. It was shot differently. Let's warm that up a little bit. Blacks. Sometimes that looks good. I don't know. It's different for each photo. And you'll start to learn what you like. Let's straighten this a little bit. I'm going by the table, the bottom of the table, as how I'm looking at the straightening. I don't want to lose any detail on the ends, but if it's displayed on a website, you will definitely see immediately if it's not straight, it won't look right. Oh, Monica's saying that she doesn't want that tree branch in it. Maybe we'll take.
Like it.
You don't like the tree branch? This one? Okay, maybe we can fix that.
Yay.
You're so funny. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, let's look at these greens over here. Look at my greens are already down. Good. Okay, I'm gonna flag this one also. All right. So I am going to just say edit select all. I have flagged these yellow for myself to later know what I want to bring into Photoshop. But I don't even have to lose this window, and I will be able to just open these up immediately, which is what I'm going to do right now. Open images, and then here they are. Look at all those pretty adjustments, and they are going to come up in my Photoshop. This is what we worked on the other day. Here they are. Okay, look at this. Really nice, okay? So let's perfect this image, okay? Right now, what I'm seeing is, I see this. It looks like a little grill. Is that a grill? A couple things I can do. This is the most amazing tool when it works well. Sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. But I'm going to go get my lasso tool on the left here. And this is just basic object removal. I'm going to make a lasso around this grill. I think it's a grill. Okay. I just drew a circle, okay? Then you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm pressing the delete button. The only time that this will work this way is if you are on this background layer, by the way. It must be the first thing that you do. Background layer, you can do delete with your finger on the keyboard. I'm literally pressing delete on the keyboard. Content aware is what you want it to say, normal, and you press OK. Oh my gosh, look at that. It pretty much got rid of that grill. It put a little rose here because it sometimes
That's cute though. I like
it is a cute rose, but we do want it to just be green. So now I can clean it up. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger for myself. I can go to my clone stamp on the left.
That looks kind of realistic.
I know, it does. Monica, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so when I go and I do my stamping, by the way, this is the clone stamp, I choose to make my hardness to 0, okay? What this is going to do, it's going to make the fuzzy outer corner so that it's going to be a very smooth finish. And I keep my opacity somewhere in the middle, 50–60%, for most things. Not for everything, but for most things. So I'm going to select, Monica. Okay, I'm going to select the point at which I'd like to copy by pressing down the Option Alt key. Somewhere, if I want this to be green leaves, like I basically want this rose to disappear and to look like these leaves. So I'm going to take these leaves. Once I'm in my stamp tool, these leaves, press my Option Alt key. Oops. Okay. So I press my Option Alt key, and now look, it shows these leaves. And now I'm going to clean this up. Oh, look. Bye-bye, rose. Look at that. No one would ever know. I'm going to zoom out here. If you press your command minus will make your picture smaller. Command plus will make it bigger. And now I can see it again. Okay. It's kind of risky sometimes to work right on the background layer like this. Sometimes it's better to make another little layer to work on, just so that you don't lose your work. To do that, you can just make a little copy by holding your finger down and copying this by dragging it to this, like it looks like a piece of paper. And now look, you have a copy. So if you like really screw something up, you will not be ruining like the original. Okay, so it's kind of always a good idea to do that. I'm going to say Option Select on this white so that I can get rid of this little blue, whatever. So now I'm just being nitpicky. You don't have to get so into this, okay, if you don't want to. But there we go. I'm going to bring out some of the details in these flowers and in this little bird, since that's kind of our focal point here. So I'm going to go, and these are my actions. These I called Flavia actions. These are the ones I already emailed to Flavia. Under the blanket is one, and it is a darkening action. In the spotlight, it's like a little paintbrush that lightens things. And then the sharpening, print Sharpie, it's a sharpening action. But when I want to selectively sharpen, like say this bird, I just want it to kind of pop out at me, I'm going to go up and I'm going to find it. And I can give you these actions, or we can buy some or figure that out, but I don't mind just passing them along for some of these little projects. Sharp eyelashes. This is what we did the other day. So you select this action, press play. See, look, it's not going to show up, by the way. Look it down here. It put this sharp eyelashes underneath the background copy. Nothing that I do, if that happens, is going to show up. It's kind of a weird thing about these actions. Some of them aren't made like perfectly. I have to drag it to the top, okay? If you're ever working on a layer and you don't know why it's not showing up, make sure that it is actually going to be shown at the top of your list. So now it will work. So I'm going to go my Command plus to zoom in again. And I'm going to start painting this guy. Look, it's not showing up because my opacity is 17. Let's go to 100 and just see if that will help. Oh, look at that. You see how that's getting this birdie sharp? It's bringing out some detail. I'm also going to do it with some of these flowers because we want it to look really, really good. Oopsie. Quick. Sometimes I hit things. Okay, anyway, there we go. All right, this is pretty. I will show you how some of these other little, in the spotlight, for instance, I'll show you how that works. Occasionally, I will brighten up things that need a little bit of a fill. So, like sometimes you think, where do I wish my flash was shining that day when I was shooting that? And I'm looking like at these plates, and sometimes glass, like glasses and flatware, sometimes you need a little bit of help with these like lightening spotlight actions. So like look at what happens when I like lighten this. I'm gonna turn the opacity down. It just kind of, it pops out some details here. If you want to show napkins, I really want to see them. Anyway, you could go on forever on a single picture. Sometimes you just have to kind of hang it up. Oopsie. I hit things sometimes. See that? Over here, let's get that plate brighter. Anyway, okay, so Flavia can also say, you know, I wish these were a little bit more bright or dark, and then you know how to do it. But I think that this is very pretty. Okay, we're going to do our finishing touch here of our sharpening action. Okay. Our last sharpening, well, let's check the resolution first. Let's make sure that this is large enough for Flavia's website. First of all, hold on. This crop is kind of bugging me. Okay. I don't know. For some reason, I like that better. Okay, crap. Okay, let's check the size of this image. Image size. It's going to tell us what our pixels are. We are definitely good. I forget what our dimensions were that she wanted. I have to look at my sheet of paper. But I know that this is more than I think it was like 2300 or something, so we're very good. Okay, if we wanted to go and increase the resolution, say that this was a really small image, we would go to that resolution up. Where is it? Obviously, I have a million actions. Anyway, resolution up 5 steps. See this guy? This is what we would use, and I'll give that one also to you. Okay, but we are going to do our last thing here. We're going to sharpen it. If I knew the size of her website, I would do that right now, size it, and then do the print sharpening. But I'm just going to have to come in and do it again because it should be the last thing that you do. But for this purpose, I'm just going to show you what it did. And it did it. It ran the action. Okay, that looks a little harsh to me. You know, it might even look best without any, but you always want to just look at it and see. I mean, I kind of like it softer. I don't know. Flavia can say, but I'm going to put just a little bit on. Anyway, to me, this is good, okay? So always save your work. File. Save. All right. And I'm going to make a folder just for Flavia. Flavia finished website, whatever, create, save. Okay, so there we go. I can do this one later. One more thing I was going to show you how to do. These are beautiful. All these details are beautiful. I'll probably brighten these up. Let's just do it. Let's do in the spotlight, okay? We have nothing really to remove. Let's make the opacity very low because, well, maybe not that low. It's just easy to overdo it. But sometimes you really want to bring out like napkins and plates and some of these pretty things down here. It's really sometimes can elevate an image from being mediocre to wow, if you just know the right places to highlight. So if there is an item of focus, that's kind of what I'll do. Say that I do a little bit too much. For instance, say that I do this. Oh no, oh no, okay. You can erase your mistake by pressing this eraser tool and erasing your mistakes. Oops. You must erase on the same layer that you were just working on. This is my in the spotlight action. Look at all this, by the way. It's a black. I don't know how much you know about working in layers with Photoshop, but this action gives you a black box, which means that if you paint with your paintbrush white, that is what activates the action. So for instance, I had a lower opacity brush on, which is why, look at where my mouse is. it's like this shows me exactly where I was painting on the napkins and plates, and it doesn't look so harsh white because my opacity wasn't 100%. The place up here that I messed up on, my little mistake that I'm gonna fix, look at how white that is, okay? That means that's where I I went to like 88% opacity. That's why it's showing like 88% opacity white up here. So this is a little preview of like where you've done your work in the actual image. You can either erase, this is the eraser on the left here. This is the eraser tool. I can go and erase. Okay, look how harsh that is. It's because of my hardness of my brush. So that's what it looks like when you keep your brush hardness, right? So I can either erase, or if we're going by the same philosophy that painting white activates the action, well, painting black would erase that action. This is my normal paintbrush. This just comes in handy later on when you're working in different layers. This brush right here, this is a normal paintbrush. If I want to paint in white, I can paint in white, which activates the action. If I want to erase, I must click this to get black. And now I'm going to be painting black. Let's see if this disappears. And it does. Okay, so I'm going everywhere. It's not like I'm painting black on my picture at all. I'm only painting black on like this weird adjustment layer. So that's what you do if you make an error, and you don't have to freak out. You can erase, or you can do paint brushing back of the opposite layer color here in this box. So let's see. I mean, I like this. I do. I just like how it is. One thing I feel like if I ever want to, for instance, give Flavia an option of 2 different things, I will say File. Sorry, where is it? Image. This is what I want. Image, duplicate. Okay? Okay. That way I can, here's one, oops, there's one file of a copy, and here I have a whole nother one to work on. So if I want to give it a different finish, for instance, if I'm like, I like how this works and how this looks, but let's make it a little bit warmer for her. Maybe she wants a little bit more of a dreamy garden tone. I will go to, this is one of my favorite actions for warming. I can do it manually, but this is a nice formula. And I will press play, and then that gives it a little bit warmer. I mean, maybe she likes it, maybe she hates it, but sometimes if you're just not knowing which one she's going to like and you just want to save 2 versions, it's such a quick, easy thing for you to do to duplicate an image, save them both in that finished web folder, and then she can say yay or nay and choose what she wants. Kind of like that warm version, but it has to look good with the rest of her website. And then I'm going to do my last thing, which is resize the image, which I will do later, like I said before, when I know exactly what the dimensions are. The last thing I will really do is this print Sharpie, which will sharpen this image a little bit. No, I am not sure. Okay, look at this print Sharpie, what it did. This looks like not good, and I think that it's because it's very subtle, but the image itself is slightly out of focus. Like when it was shot, it almost looks like it's more out of focus now that I put this sharpening action on. Sometimes the sharpening action only looks good if the image is sharpened itself. If you just take it off, it's more of a dreamy look. Look at how it is a little bit out of focus. It is, but you're not going to care when it's pulled away. So I'm actually not going to suggest to do that print thing, that Sharpie thing. I mean, maybe, I don't know. My eyes are also trained to see these images out of focus. So maybe she'll like it, maybe she won't. Anyway, like when I saw it right away, it looked glaringly out of focus and just harsh or something. So I think I would leave it off. My eye would say leave it off. but you have it in your arsenal if you need it. Okay, so I'm just going to say File, Save, and I'm going to save in my, where is it? What did I call it? Flavia Finish website. You save it as a Photoshop. Look at, I made a mistake. I do not save finals as Photoshop documents. I changed them to JPEGs. JPEG. Okay. Oh, this is a really good thing to address here. Look at this section when I go to save. It says embed color profile Adobe RGB. That is bad. When we do this and we are saving it as RGB, our colors are going to look great in Photoshop and they're going to look like crap on the web. So I'm going to cancel that right now and I'm going to show you how to convert this to what you need to do for web. I should really write all these things down. Okay, so File, where is it? Edit. Okay, it's under Edit. So say you've done a great job. You're gonna get images from people's cameras, and different cameras are gonna be different, and some people have different types of files. But always do this just to cover yourself, to just be safe. Go to Edit, Convert to Profile, sRGB. Okay, this is what you want. It's telling us here that our picture currently is Adobe RGB. That is exactly what I saw that I noticed that I didn't like. I didn't want it to say that when I was going to save it. It's RGB. RGB is really bad for the web. It's not, your colors are going to be gross. So if image is RGB, you must convert it to sRGB. So this is the source is RGB. Destination, which means what you're changing it into, is sRGB. Great. Okay. All right. Like easy as pie. But if you didn't know to do that, you would be like, why the hell are my pictures looking like crap after I just spent all this time on them? So now let's see what it says. File, save as a JPEG. And look at it. This is what alerted me before. Look what it says now, sRGB. Originally, it just said RGB, and I knew that that was going to be really bad news for me. So I'm going to save it in my desktop, in my Flavia Finish website, JPEG. Look at this is bad. Do not do that. Do not save Photoshop documents. Make them JPEGs, because then they can work with them. Save. And here we go. Quality 10 is perfect. All right. And then we can shut that out. Look at the bluer version. I was getting used to seeing the warmed up version, and now I think this looks too blue. Anyway, you'll drive yourself crazy the more you look at these images. So I'll do this later, but I will do some of the same exact things that I did before because they're very, very similar. There's nothing that I really can show here that's too different. Is there anything else? Okay, I'm going to remove these cars. This is a really long video, but I got to remove these cars anyway, so you can either watch or shut off if you're bored, but I'm just going to keep going. All right, so let's just see here. Sometimes you don't know what the best way is until you get in here. I'm just going to see what this does for me. I'm going to lasso this car. I'm going to press delete on my background layer, which is why it's letting me do that. Like, see, fail. That looks really weird. Edit, undo, edit, step backwards. Okay, so we're going to have to do this manually. Okay, so I made a flattened copy. That's the same as going to this background and making a little copy by dragging it to the paper. Okay, so let's see here. I'm just going to clone stamp this. You know how to do this, Gabby. And sometimes it's like that's enough, you know. Why is it doing that? Okay, so sometimes you just gotta like zoom out and tell yourself that you're not being crazy. Make sure to like zoom in and out often when you're cloning. Otherwise, you will do dumb things and you'll get carried away. Sometimes I'll like take random like my opacity is like almost nothing. And sometimes that can just help, like you can blend stuff. Okay, like pretty much that's fine for me right now. We notice it because we've been looking at it, but we won't later. Okay, you know what I can do for here? I'll show you what I would do for this car over here. Right now, I can only tell it's a car because of the red, right? So I'm going to make another layer. I have a little action that I have, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it the way that you would. I'm going to drag and do a copy. So I'm going to do a little lasso around this. Let's zoom in. Let's do a lasso around the red. Okay. This is just one of the tricks that I sometimes use. And let's just see what we get here. Lasso around the thing that you need to change. Image, adjustment, hue, saturation, master. I want to take out the reds. I want to just control the reds. This is similar to our color panels in Lightroom. Let's just see what happens when we select reds and then go down with our saturation. Like nothing. What's going on? Why? What's going on? Let's try this again. Image adjustment. Yeah, I don't know what, maybe I was like not on the proper layer or something. Sometimes I do stupid things. Okay. So yeah, maybe it's just because there's not enough reds. Magenta? Is it calling that magenta? Yes, it is. Okay, look at it. Here we go. This is why. This is not the right solution for this car, okay? I'm not leaving. I have to figure out a different way to fix this, but this is a way that you can isolate colors. It was calling this little strip magenta, so when I chose magenta, I was able to control the color. Sometimes that'll be all that you need to do. It's not in this case. We're going to have to clone. I was wondering why it was not registering, and I guess it just didn't think it was red. It just thought it was magenta. So let's just clone this a little bit. I'm kind of the cloning queen. I just, you know. The latest version of Photoshop allows you to really do a good job, though, with the clone stamp. I don't know what version you have, Gabby, but it allows you to match up exactly where you are with your stamp. So it just depends on what you've got. Before, I didn't have that, and it was a lot harder. Okay, so look at that. Okay, that just looks a lot better. We got rid of the cars. I'm talking to my computer. I'm making a tutorial.
Sorry.
Okay. So there we go. Let's lighten up these things. Digital fill flash is another action that I enjoy. It's just like that one down here called, what is it called? In the spotlight. Just a little different. I don't know. I actually feel like sometimes for different applications, the digital fill flash is a little better. Anyway, I'm just going to bring out the forks and the plates and the napkins, the glass. These are all good things to do your digital fill flash for, or you're in the spotlight. because it does bring out the detail in the glass and the textures. And look at that, and here's our bird. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so let's see, this is a pretty sharp image, I think. So let's go down here to our print Sharpie and look at what it did to this. It just made it really nice. I love it. It's a little harsh, but if we turn it down to, you know, I usually end up being in somewhere in the 30s is where I feel like it does its best. I'm going to stop right there. Okay. We're going to not make the mistake we did last time of going to save before making sure it's converted to the right color profile. So let's go to your image. I'm sorry, not image, edit, convert to profile. And look, it was RGB. That's bad. We want it to become sRGB. I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to go in File, Save As, JPEG, Desktop, and here we go. Done. All right, so there's our garden tutorial. Are there any others? Nope, that's it. Okay. Where is my little thing to stop the recording? Did I do that whole tutorial without recording it? I hope not. I feel like I did.